How's it going, you guys? Gridiron Guru here. Josh Behan. If you know how to pronounce my last name, it's Behan. Today I got top 24 running backs for you for 2019 PPR fantasy football. And we'll go ahead and get into it. Right now, number one, I have Ezekiel Elliott. Last season, he ran for 1,434 yards, 6 touchdowns. He caught 77 passes for 567 yards and 3 touchdowns. So it's only 9 touchdowns all he had. That's really the only bad point you can knock on him there. And I just think he's the safest number one pick because all the different concerns with the other running backs. And, I mean, he's plays more percentage of snaps than any other running back in the league. He plays almost every snap that they come out on the field. He's out there every time. He really expanded his role in the receiving game last season. And after Mari Cooper came on, that really opened things up. They got Witten back. They just picked up Randall Cobb. Still got Gallup over there. So, I mean, I think Ezekiel Elliott, he probably won't be the number one back at the end of the season. I'm not saying that, but I think he's the number one safest option right now. So we'll move on here. And, well, Ezekiel Elliott played 15 games last season too. So he did that in 15 games, and he led the league in rushing yards in 15 games. So just I'm going to throw that out there. All right, number 2, Alvin Kamara. Last season he played 15 games. He started 13 of them. He ran for 883 yards and 14 touchdowns, and he caught 81 passes for 709 yards and 4 touchdowns. And them are excellent numbers right there. He's almost them are almost a running back and a receiver's numbers mixed into one. 18 touchdowns. He's got over 30 touchdowns his first 2 years in the league. He's a pretty safe option there, and Drew Brees is always going to find a way to get the ball to his running back and little slip screens and swing passes out of the backfield. Kamara's good at his angles. He's got great speed. He's a smart football player. He likes to use his angles and get to the sidelines. He doesn't just, try to get the extra yard and run into people all the time. He's a smart football player. I got him at number 2 right now. All right, number 3, that's where I got Saquon Barkley with the news of Odell Beckham leaving. I already kind of had Barkley at 3 anyway, but now it just seems a little more justifiable to me. And last season, Barkley played 16 games. He ran for 1,307 yards, 11 touchdowns. He caught 91 passes for 721 yards and 4 touchdowns. And there's another guy there with a running back and a receiver all in one. And Eli Manning's not the best quarterback in the world, but if we take a look back what Tiki Barber, what he did with the Giants, and fantasy football wasn't real popular back then or anything, but he averaged over 250 to 350 points per season with Eli Manning. He knows how to get the ball to the running back when things ain't going good. He's going to dump it off, and he's clearly not a guy that they don't want them to throw 50 times a game. They're going to run the ball. Barkley's one of the most exciting athletes in the league. I mean, his legs are the size of my torso. I mean, the guy's a monster. He's got great hands. There's a couple games last season where he caught 11, 12 catches in a game. So if they're not able to run, they're going to get the ball to him one way or the other. All right, we'll move on here. Christian McCaffrey last season, he played all 16 games. The last game of the season, he only came out and played the first drive and got about 5 or 6 fantasy points or something. So I'm not going to really look at that like a full game, really. But he ran 1,098 yards for 7 touchdowns. He caught 107 passes for 867 yards and 6 touchdowns. And that's the most receptions ever by a running back, and that's a running back receiver all in one there too. I got him moved down to number 4 right now because of Cam Newton's health, and the reports are saying that he's progressing along and it's looking like he's probably going to be out there, but we're still a couple months away, and I still think a 4 is a good spot to slot him in right now. If Cam Newton was there and completely healthy, if you really feel that strong about him as the number 1 overall running back, if Cam Newton's healthy, I wouldn't argue with it. He's a great football player. All right, number 5 right now, that's where I went ahead and slid in Le'Veon Bell, and I think he's a safe pick. He just signed a 4-year, $50 million deal with the Jets, and if you look last season, Isaiah Crowell had a game where he ran for 200 yards for the Jets, and Elijah McGuire was a good running back the last 4 or 5 weeks of the season. He was pretty useful running back too, kind of low-end running back 1, running back 2 actually in fantasy. So they may not have the greatest team, but, they just picked up Crowder, and they got Herndon, and, Newman, Robbie Anderson. They got some weapons over there. Darnold's 2nd year in the league. They're clearly not, they don't want Darnold to throw 50 times a game either, so they're going to make sure they get the running back the ball. I really like Bell this year. I don't like what he did last year on the holdout. I don't like that he turned down $14 million. He's getting paid less now and all that stuff, but, that's his own decision, and it's probably end up going to benefit him because he was a guy that was getting 300 or 400 touches per year, and he's coming out there. And if you do that 4 or 5 years in this league, then you're usually done. So he did it for 4 or 5 years. He took a year off. He went out there, messed around with his rap album and everything. He's probably making millions off of that, and then he's going to come back, play some football this year. He's probably going to be 100% fresh. I'm just hoping that he's taking his training and everything seriously, and he's going to come back and be the same player he was. But I think he will be, and I like what they're doing over there. I got him at number 5. All right, number 6 right now, that's where I got James Conner. Last season, he ran for 973 yards and 12 touchdowns, 55 catches, 497 yards, and 1 touchdown. And he played 13 games, and he started 12 of them. So them are great numbers right there for 12 games. He had 13 touchdowns in 12 games. They got Jalen Samuels over there. He looked good in James Conner's place, and James Conner looked good in Le'Veon Bell's place, so I understand the question marks and concerns about Jalen Samuels. But honestly, in my opinion, Jalen Samuels is more of a receiver. He's more of a receiving back. In college, he actually played tight end. So, I mean, with all the other receiving weapons they're losing, I could see them using Jalen Samuels as like a H-back, a tight end, out in the slot, third down back. Jalen Samuels probably be a useful football player. But James Conner's got great hands, too. His hands are underrated. I mean, I'd highly suggest you go and look up James Conner's one-handed catch last year if you didn't see that. I mean, he's got great hands, and they're going to feed him the ball. Ben Roethlisberger's called him a number 1 receiver, actually. He's called him that. They have the utmost confidence in him, and I like James Conner at number 6. All right, number 7, that's where I got Todd Gurley, and he's been number 1 running back in the league the last couple of years. At the end of the season there, something wasn't looking right. We was all sniffing the injury, and me, myself, a couple other guys I talked to on here, we didn't believe that he wasn't injured, and they were saying that he wasn't injured. We didn't believe it. We knew he was injured, and we talked about it, and we said it before long. They're going to end up saying something about it and end up doing a little minor surgery or something. Well, here you go. Now they say knee arthritis and stem cell therapy and everything like that. And a stem cell does work pretty good. That's why I still got him at 7. I'm not ready to throw him away, toss him out in the dumpster yet, because I mean he's an awesome running back, and if they get that knee figured out and he comes back, he should be good still. But it is very dangerous. That's why he went from number 1 down to 7 for me. And I'm not wouldn't be mad at you if you just pass on him and just let him go and pick somebody else just because of the injury concerns. It's always really hard to use a first or second round pick with a guy with that big injury concerns. But he's a great football player, and I'm not forgetting about him. All right, number 8 right now, that's where I got Melvin Gordon. Last season he played 12 games. He ran for 885 yards and 10 touchdowns. He had 50 catches, 490 yards, and 4 touchdowns. So 12 games. He had 14 touchdowns in 12 games. He was an awesome running back. If you had him or if you was kind of caught wind of it last season, he was scoring 20 to 30 points a week out there until he got hurt. And that's the only reason I got him down so far is because he got hurt at the end of the year, and they had Eckler out there and Justin Jackson. They got a few guys, but Rivers is always good at getting the ball to his running backs. I mean, look, he made Danny Woodhead a dang near PBR superstar out there as a backup running back. So, just like Austin Eckler's been kind of a running back 2 to 3-ish kind of right there, like a flex play almost every week, just because Rivers loves throwing that running back. So, I mean, if Gordon can stay healthy, he's going to be a hell of a running back for you. I got him at 8 right now. All right, right now, number 9, I got Joe Mixon slotted in. And last season, he had 1,168 yards and 8 touchdowns rushing. He had 43 catches for 296 yards and 1 touchdown receiving. Pretty versatile back there. They got Giovanni Bernard as more of their receiving back, but Mixon still got soft hands. He's still going to catch some balls. They got Tyler Boyd and A.J. Green on the outside. They lost Tyler Croft. They signed Eifert for 1 more year to see if he can get healthy, but they got C.J. Uzomah at tight end. They got John Ross out there. They got some guys. Mixon, last year people was kind of expecting him to be a top 5 back, and he wasn't, and, he could be a top 5 back. They got a decent team over there. Their offensive line's not the greatest, and their defense is not the greatest, but the thing is, they're going to get scored on. They're going to have to try to score points, and if Andy Dalton's healthy, he can move the ball. Andy Dalton, if you watch my quarterback video, he threw 21 touchdowns in 11 games last year. He threw 21 touchdowns, and Aaron Rodgers only threw 25 all season. So, I mean, they're a pretty decent team over there. All right, right now, number 10, that's where I got Mark Ingram. And it's probably a little earlier than some people right now. Last season, Ingram played 12 games. He started 6 of them. He ran for 645 yards and 6 touchdowns. He caught 21 passes, 170 yards and 1 touchdown. That was split in time as a secondary option behind Alvin Kamara over there. Now he's the lead running back for the Ravens. They are a running football team. They got a rushing quarterback. They don't have much of a receiver. They got Willie Snead. They lost John Brown and Crabtree. They got 4 good tight ends. If you check my tight end video out there, I talk about them a little bit. I think they're going to be a really, really heavy smash mouth, straight downfield type of offense, and Ingram's going to be the catalyst in it. It's going to be a lot of read option and just a lot of powerhouse football over there. And Mark Ingram could have a heck of a season here, fellas. All right, number 11, that's where I have Sony Michel. Last season, he had 931 yards and 6 touchdowns. He only caught 7 passes for 54 yards, and I mean, that is very glaring right there. But I watched a lot of college film on Sony Michel, and he does have good hands. I mean, he has decent hands. He can catch the ball. Last season, he looked a little stiff on his routes, and I was surprised he actually came back and played as good as he did for coming off that knee injury. I think he's going to be fully healthy this year. He's going to be quicker. He's going to be more explosive. He's going to look like he did in college. And understand James White's the receiving back over there. And that's why, they pulled him out and throw James White in. It's not because Sony can't catch the ball. It's because James White is so damn good at catching the ball. You know what I'm saying? It's more of they got to get James White out there because there's not a better receiving back in the league than James White, unless maybe if you want to say like Kamara or McCaffrey. But James White's a hell of a receiving back. But Sony Michel last year, he had over 40-something goal line carries. He seems really started feeding the rock once he got healthy. And this season here, Brady's getting a little older, his arm's not quite as strong. You see they're always going to run the ball, and a lot of times it's a headache on who they're going to give it to. But when Sony Michel was healthy, he was getting 16 to 20 carries every game. It wasn't like a Sony 18 this game, and then next week he gets 2, and Rex Burkhead gets 20 carries. They weren't doing that. That's Sony Michel's running back over there, you know what I mean? He's going to be the guy for him. All right, number 12, David Johnson. Last season, he ran for 940 yards and 7 touchdowns. He caught 50 passes, 446 yards, 3 touchdowns. That's 10 touchdowns total. Ezekiel only had 9 touchdowns like we talked about. So I just want to throw that out there. And we all know that Josh Rosen was terrible last year. He couldn't even hardly throw for 100-something yards a game. And David Johnson still ended up getting 10 touchdowns somehow. And I think the whole offense only scored like 20 touchdowns as a freaking total. And, he was still pretty decent coming off an injury. Played all season, played all 16 games. He was out there grinding 18, 20 carries a game for 50, 60 yards out there just grinding. And I don't think it can get any much worse. I think it's going to get a little better for him. I like David Johnson this year. All right, number 13, that's where I got Dalvin Cook. Last season, he played 11 games. He only started 10 of them. He ran for 615 yards, 2 touchdowns. He caught 40 passes, 305 yards, and 2 touchdowns. So, he's kind of a versatile back. Minnesota's got 2 good receivers in Thielen and Diggs, and they're going to keep the pressure off of him. They got good tight end in Rudolph. Kirk Cousins is not the best quarterback in the league, but he's definitely not the worst either. They can move the ball a little bit downfield, and they got rid of Latavius Murray, and he actually had 6 touchdowns last year, 600 or 700 yards. Latavius Murray had a pretty good season last year. So them losing them, they got Rock Thomas, and they got a couple guys over there backing him up, Mike Boone. But the thing is I really see him to really try to upload his up his workload here. And I think Dalvin Cook is kind of risky because of the injury concerns and everything. Because if he didn't have injury concerns, he'd probably be a top 10 back. But I think right there at 13, I think that's a good place to go after him. All right, number 14. This guy right here last season, he played 16 games, but he only started 3 of them, and that's Damian Williams. He ran for 256 yards and 4 touchdowns. He had 23 catches, 160 yards, and 2 touchdowns. So, you seen what he did right there at the end of the season last season. He really started coming on strong, and after the news happened with Hunt and everything, he was clearly the back. They had a rookie running back over there, Darrell Williams, who actually sniped a couple of the goal line carries, and they gave Spencer Ware a little bit of work and everything, and they just picked up Carlos Hyde in the offseason. But with the news of Tyreek Hill, they're kind of struggling. They're kind of hurting for weapons over there, in my opinion. So I really see them trying to get Damian Williams involved. He just got the soft hands, and Mahomes got that arm, so they're not going to be able to focus in on Damian. I think he's going to be a good player this year. All right, number 15, that's where I have Nick Chubb. Last season, he played all 16 games. He only started 9 of them. He had 996 yards and 8 touchdowns. He caught 20 passes, 149 yards, and 2 touchdowns. And we all like what's going on over there. Baker's looking good as a quarterback. He's got confidence. He ain't scared of slinging around. They got receiving weapons for days. Odell and Landry and Njoku and Damian Ratley and Antonio Callaway, Derek Willis. I mean, they're stocked top to bottom at receiving options. And they still got Duke Johnson and Nick Chubb over there and Kareem Hunt at, 7 or 8 weeks, and then he's going to be back. But that's why I got Nick Chubb's a little lower, is because Hunt's kind of peeking over his shoulder. But Chubb's one of them guys that for his first 7 or 8 weeks, I look for him to really help you come out of the gate strong there, because if you look what Kamara did the first 4 weeks last year when Ingram was out, Kamara came out scoring 30 or 40 points a week. He knew that Ingram was going to be back. Let's get everything I can now. Let's go for it. And Nick Chubb's going to be playing balls to the wall until Kareem Hunt gets back out there. I wouldn't be surprised if Kareem Hunt got traded or something, but right now he's not traded. And Chubb knows that he's got 8 weeks to make sure that he earns his carries and they don't get handed off to somebody else. So, all right, number 16, that's where I have Marlon Mack. Last season he played 12 games. He had 908 rushing yards, 9 touchdowns. He caught 17 passes, 103 yards, and 1 touchdown. I'd have him ranked up a little higher because I really like the Colts offense and I really like Andrew Luck. But the thing is that Nyheim Hines is a great receiving running back, and he's going to be the third down back over there. Marlon Mack can catch the ball, and he'll catch the ball on first and second down a little bit here and there, but he's mainly going to be their running back and their goal line back. When it gets to third and long, Nyheim Hines is going to be in the backfield, not because Matt can't catch, because of the James White situation, because Nyheim Hines is such a good receiving back. All right, number 17, that's where I have Leonard Fournette. Last season he only played 8 games. He had 435 rushing yards, 9 touchdowns, 20 receptions for 149 yards and 2 touchdowns. And unless I wrote them stats down right there, that's saying that he had played 8 games and 11 touchdowns. 11 touchdowns in 8 games. That's pretty phenomenal. And he's always, he's kind of a bad apple in one way if you look at it, because he's always getting hurt. He's been known for in college fighting people in the NFL, trying to fight his own teammates. It kind of seems like he's got an attitude problem, but if he can just take that on the football field and unleash that on the opponent out there like he did his first season, good things are going to come out of him. And with them adding Nick Foles, and they picked up Chris Conley at receiver in free agency, and they got Keelan Cole and Dede Westbrook, Marquise Lee over there. They just picked up Jeff Swaim at tight end from the Dallas Cowboys. He looked pretty good now. He learned from Jason Witten. And they just picked him up at tight end, and Nick Foles loves to throw to a tight end, so it's a little off subject here, but keep an eye out. There's probably going to be a little Jeff Swaim sleeper video because Nick Foles loves that tight end. But I really like Fournette here. If he can stay healthy, bounce back year, I could see him being a top 10 running back. But right now, that's where I got him at 17 just because of the injuries. All right, let's move along here. Number 18, that's Aaron Jones. Last season, he ran for 728 yards and 8 touchdowns. He had caught 26 passes for 206 yards and 1 touchdown. And a lot of people's really high on him. I got him a little lower, but still that's, number 2 running back at number 18. And the thing is Aaron Rodgers is a great quarterback, we all know, and they're going to hand the ball off a little bit. The thing with Jones is that he's got the Sony Michel upside of playing on a great team and getting all them goal line touches, because Aaron Rodgers can move the ball. Aaron Jones could score 20-something touchdowns just because of Rodgers getting close to the goal line. Give to Jones, just pound it in there. Because they got Jamal Williams. He'd be more the receiving back over there. We haven't really had that season we're wanting out of Aaron Jones yet, but if he can stay healthy for a full season, he's bound to put up 1,300 yards, maybe 15 and 20 touchdowns in that offense. Don't know if it's going to happen or not, but got him at number 18 right now. All right, number 19, that's where I got Kerryon Johnson. Last season, he only played 10 games. He started 7 of them. He ran for 641 yards and 3 touchdowns. He caught 32 passes, 213 yards, and 1 touchdown. And 32 passes is not bad for him catching last season, considering that they had Theo Riddick at running back, and then they had LeGarrette Blount stealing all the goal line touches. So Blunt's gone now, Riddick's still there, but I could see his touchdowns going up a lot. You see Matt Patricia, they really like to try to run the ball over there. He's a defensive coach. He was defensive coordinator for Patriots, and he's that type of guy. He wants to play good defense. He wants to run the ball. He wants to pound the ball. I look for Kerryon to have a good season. All right, number 20, that's where I have Derrick Henry. Last season, he ran for 1,059 yards, 12 touchdowns. He caught 15 passes for 99 yards, so that's pretty pathetic at receiving stats because he played all 16 games and only caught 15 passes. That's actually better than Sony Michel as far as receptions go, though. But the thing is with Derrick Henry, we all know he really put all them stats up really in about a 3 or 4 game period, and that's why I got him down so low. If they keep coming out and feeding him the ball 25, 30 times a game, he could come out and have a hell of a season this year. But we already know that he's not going to catch the ball. So with Derrick Henry, you're counting on the Titans offense to be good, to move the ball, to get in range, to hand him the ball for touchdowns. I'm not for sure about that right now. I do like Tannehill more than Mariota, so that was a good addition for him. I got Humphreys over there. They could be decent, but right now I got Henry at 20. All right, 21, that's where I got Terry Cohen. And last season he ran for 443 yards and 3 touchdowns. That's not bad for a receiving back. And he caught 71 passes, 725 yards, and 5 touchdowns. And great receiving numbers for a split-time running back. We'll give you a comparison here. Saquon Barkley only had 721 receiving yards, and Terry Cohen had 725. So let's throw that out there. And, you know, the thing is with them is Jordan Howard, he's probably going to get traded. Something's going on there because they picked up Mike Davis. Cohen's not going anywhere, though. That's clear as day. He's their receiving guy over there. They're going to get him the ball. Matt Nagy's, he's a real smart play caller. He really likes to take advantage of people's weaknesses, and Terry Cohen on a linebacker or safety is everybody's weakness. So he's going to get him the ball. Keep an eye out for Cohen. All right, number 22, I got Chris Carson there. And Chris Carson last season ran for 1,151 yards and 9 touchdowns. That's actually 5th in the league in rushing yards. And he caught 20 passes for 163 yards. He clearly isn't the receiving option over there, but he really his running style reminds me of an AP. He just really reminds me of an AP. And Seahawks like to pound the ball. They got a good offensive line. You know, Penny's kind of sneaking in the back door there. That's why I got Carson down there so low, because number 5 in rushing yards, and I got him ranked at 22. You know, I'm a little worried about Penny because Mike Davis is a good running back for him last year. Mike Davis ran the ball, you know, short yardage, goal lines. He caught passes. That's what really surprised me is they used Mike Davis a lot last year on third down for catching passes instead of Rashad Penny. I thought that was going to be his job. So apparently he's learning and progressing, and apparently he's going to be that guy now for that third down back. Mike Davis went on over there. So more likely it's going to be Carson and Penny. I got Carson 22 for now. All right, 23, that's where I got Philip Lindsay. I really like the kid. He's real electric, and only reason I have him down so low is because he's coming off that scapula injury on his wrist. What that means is this part of his wrist bent all the way back. You know what I mean? Your fingers hit here. I mean, that hurts. And right now he's still wearing that cast. And, I mean, I just watched a video the other day, him and Saquon Barkley at Disneyland and everything, and you know, if you've seen it during the last season, Saquon Barkley was tweeting about him saying, I see you over there, Lindsay. I see you. I love your game, blah, 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 blah. So to get respect from Saquon Barkley, that's pretty good for Philip Lindsay, hanging out with him, going to Disneyland with him and everything. That kind of means a little bit in my book. Saquon Barkley's a monster. He's not going to be, you know, going hanging out with some bum running back. But I like Lindsay, man, and hopefully that wrist gets back. The thing is, man, go watch that video, look that up, him and Barkley at Disney World. And the thing, I mean, Lindsay was looking beast, man. He's working out. And the thing is, he was riding them roller coaster rides, and he's got that cast on his arm, right? So he's sitting here like this. He's got Saquon on this side of him, and he's just holding his arm like this because he's got the cast. And you know how some of them rides are. I mean, they throw you around. So he's just holding on like this and then just locking his arm, just like doing them roller coaster rides, holding everything he's got with one arm. Fucking knocked the camera over. Yeah, you get the point, exactly. Trying to hold on with one arm, what's going to happen? It's just going to start flying. He's a tough little bastard right there. And hopefully his wrist heals up, and Philip Lindsay is going to be a monster if his wrist is healed up. Everybody's scared about Royce Freeman. I understand, you know, they used the early pick on him and everything, and they might get him involved this year. I could see him being the goal line back. Philip Lindsay would definitely be the receiving back over there. But, you know, he already earned the job once last year. So, I mean, who are we to say that he's got to go out there and reprove it and re-earn it? He already earned it last year. He was a rookie Pro Bowler. He didn't even get drafted, and he took a first-round pick's job and started all season. So, Philip Lindsay's a hell of a football player. You can tell I got a little man crush on him. Let's talk about him for, 35 minutes. Let's move on to the last guy here on the list is number 24. And right now, that's where I got Darius, guys. And I don't know if I'm completely comfortable with that. I just feel like there's so much upside in him because, I mean, at LSU, man, you can watch some of his college tape. Darius Geis looked phenomenal in college, man. He just looks dangerous out there. And I was kind of big on him last year, and he got hurt in the preseason, and we never got to see what he had. And the one thing that worries me here is that they signed AP to that 2-year, $8 billion extension, and I think that's more of I think AP knows what he is. I think they're going to let guys, if he's healthy, I think they're going to give him the rock and see what he can do. And then if that don't work or if he gets hurt, then they got AP. Because the other guy, the receiving back, Chris Thompson, we all know Chris Thompson can't stay healthy. You know, because he's an electric guy too. If he could stay healthy, we'd all be drafting him for sure. We'd be talking about him all day long. Well, that's my top 24 right there. And, you know, I just wrote it down 3 times in a row, to be honest with you. Just switched it around 3 times in a row, and that's about as comfortable as I'm going to feel with it for right now. No matter what you do, there's a lot of guys and a lot of question marks, and it's not going to feel exactly the most comfortable you want it to ever. And I want to tell y'all another thing here, that if y'all watched my quarterback video from yesterday, I got two lists here, and I wrote my list down and ranked them, and I put all the stats on this paper that I was going to talk about, and on this paper, I re-ranked them, and I was going to read my rankings and then pull the stats off this paper. Well, about halfway through, because they were the same until 9, about halfway through, I just started, I don't know what happened there. That camera just cut off. I don't know if I'm going to be able to edit that or not. I don't want to show you all this real quick. My quarterback video from yesterday. I really like what I talked about everything. I still have the same insight on every team, but I did actually do a re-ranking, and I was reading when I was doing that video, I was reading 2 pieces of paper. I was trying to give you the stats off one paper and the rankings off another, and it got a little twisted up. My first 9 were the same, but after I got to 10, I started moving people around a little bit, and I didn't realize it till I was already making the video, and when I read off one guy's name that was a little late, I was like, oh man, I'm reading the wrong rankings. But man, I put about 6-7 hours all together into that video right there, and I just figured to my viewers that really pay attention, they're going to sit here and watch this video this long. I'll go ahead and show you this right here. This was my first rankings. This is the one where I had all the stats and everything, read it off to you. Okay. I don't know if that's reading it backwards on you. Well, this paper here was actually when I updated and moved them around, if you can see it. So if you can see a few of them guys like Wentz and Dalton and Wentz, Dalton, Kirk Cousins, definitely a few of them guys. I moved a nice handful of slots, but I don't know if you can see that real good or not. But, yep, hope you all understand on that. I still think it was a decent video. I still think I had some good insight on each team, just maybe not ranked in the exact order I wanted. But what I'm going to do here, though, for sure, is, in the next month or so, I'm going to do another rankings on all these different positions. So just keep an eye out on these 4 videos here. Got the 35 tight ends, 50 wide receivers, 32 quarterbacks, and 24 running backs. I'm going to have the same picture on the thumbnail on all of them. So when I do some new rankings, I'm going to change that thumbnail so you'll be able to tell by the thumbnail which rankings are from which time. Just kind of, this 4-piece and this 4-piece, and I'll just kind of do that as the year goes. I'll change the thumbnail on each stack of them so you can kind of see which ones are older and which are newer just by taking a peek at it. Well, I really appreciate y'all, man. I hope y'all enjoyed the video, and I'll talk to y'all later. Thank you.